Hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Purdy, and thank you for joining us tonight for this EdTechTeam online, or to this morning, whatever time of day it is for you. For our EdTechTeam online chat about what is an Apple teacher, how can you become an Apple teacher, we're really excited to have you guys here and joining us. We have a great panel with us this evening or this morning, whatever time of day it is for you. And we're so glad. So we are EdTechTeam. If you don't know about us, we are a global network of educational technologists. We are also an Apple professional learning provider. We're going to start with just doing some quick introductions to start. So I'm Tracy Purdy. I'm a previous or former classroom teacher, both 6th grade and 4th grade. And now I am the Director of Online Learning for the EdTechTeam. Maria, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Maria Stavropoulos, and I'm a Director of Technology at Prospect High School District 23 in Illinois. And we are a K-Apple district with a mix of MacBooks and iPad Airs. And we're just all about using Apple products and integrating it in our instruction.
Awesome. Mark.
Hey, I'm Mark Wagner. I'm a former high school English teacher and been a tech coordinator at the site district and county levels before, I guess, 11 years ago, starting EdTechTeam. So I'm CEO of EdTechTeam and stoked to work with Tracy and everybody working on EdTechTeam online and of course, the rest of you who are here. So thanks for having me tonight, Tracy.
Yes, of course. Jay.
Hi, I'm Jay Atwood, and I was a high school IB psychology teacher in international schools around the world for the past 20 years now, it seems like. Currently, I'm with EdTechTeam, and I look after the IMEA region, which is India, Middle East, Asia, and Africa. So just a small swath of the world. We look after the PD events in those areas.
Fantastic. And Chris Betcher?
G'day everyone, my name is Chris Betcher. I'm based in Sydney, Australia. I'm the Director of Professional Learning for Australia and New Zealand. My background was originally, I was an art teacher and I kind of drifted into design and technology and multimedia and computing and network management and all that kind of good stuff. I've been a Mac user since 1982, I believe it was. And in my last school, I was responsible for moving them all to iPads in the junior school.
Great, thank you. Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly Clark. I'm in San Diego, and I have been in charge of one-to-one iPad and MacBook, but more importantly, I'm just an Apple aficionado. I love it.
Great, and Ben.
Hi, my name is Ben Friese, and 5 years ago, I started with a cart of iPads in my classroom, and now I look back. And now I work with EdTechTeam and focusing primarily on Apple conferences. So this is fun to be here. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. As you can see, we have a great panel. We have some ADEs, Apple Distinguished Educators, Apple Teachers, and Apple Enthusiasts. And we're just really excited to be able to share with you a little bit more about what an Apple teacher is, so that you can approach it and see if it's something that you want to do. And please feel free, as you're joining us, to ask your questions. There's the Q&A feature in in the YouTube Live feature, so ask your questions there and we'll monitor that and get back to them. I see lots of people saying hi right there, which is awesome. So check in there, ask your questions. You can also tweet them out using the EdTechTeam Online hashtag. So as we begin talking about what an Apple teacher is, our first question is, excuse me. I also want to let you know that during this Hangout, if you want to fill out this form, edtech.team/course for free, you'll have a chance to win an online course with EdTechTeam Online. So make sure you fill that out, edtech.team/course for free. And we'll start with our first question. What is an Apple teacher and what is required to become an Apple teacher? Chris, do you want to share with us a little bit first?
Unmute, there you go, rookie mistake. Yeah, so what is an Apple teacher? It's a new designation that Apple has come up with to try and give teachers who are interested in some level of certification of their skill, I suppose you'd say, an opportunity to sit a series of exams and prove their skills essentially. I'm a big fan of that idea that you should, if you know something, you should prove it. You should have some sort of certification. I think it goes a long way. Having been in the position of employing other teachers and having them walk in for an interview and you ask the questions about what do you know about X, Y, Z, and if their answer is, you know, something general like, oh, I'm pretty good, it doesn't tell you much. So having some sort of certification where you can actually measure those skills against some sort of a benchmark is a really good thing. But aside from just purely that you know, going for a job kind of scenario, just from a purely on a personal level, you know, just to know that you know and to prove that you know is fairly rewarding on a personal level.
Also, if I could pipe in, Tracy, one of the things I think is probably had the biggest impact on you know, people I've talked to that have gone through it already is it helps you get the most out of the Apple devices that you're using in the classroom. So that may be your Mac, it may be your iPad, but people, even, you know, veteran Apple using teachers have actually learned things going through the tests and going through the guides preparing for the tests.
I'd also say that you know, one of the things that's definitely required is experience using the devices.
Apple using teachers have actually learned things through the tests and going through
using the tools with their classroom and with their kids. That is going to be one of the most important things, because you have to know how to use them, not just how to use the apps and where to click and that sort of thing, but how to tie it to your educational goals and to your curriculum needs that you're working on.
That's great. I was going to add in too that just so people are really clear about the Apple Teacher program, that you can become an Apple teacher and take the iPad quizzes, or you can take the Mac quizzes. You don't have to do both. You can do both if you want to, but it's 8 quizzes on all of the different tools. So either on the Mac or the iPad, on Pages, on Numbers, on Keynote, iMovie, GarageBand, and then they also have some chapters on creativity and productivity. Each quiz has about 5 questions that you go through, and they really to so many different new things that were available that I didn't even know about on an iPad or a Mac. So just know that the Apple Teacher program, what it's required is those quizzes, the quizzes either for Mac or iPad. You choose which one you're the most passionate about, and then you can take those particular quizzes. Does anybody else have anything more to add?
I just wanted to add, Tracy, too, that although, you know, I just gave that example there of using as a validation of skills you already have, it's also a great incentive to learn new skills that maybe you don't have. So for someone who comes in and maybe doesn't know a lot about you know, they've just been given a set of iPads or something for their classroom and they're not sure where to start, it's a great incentive point to sort of go and have a focus point of something to learn. This is what you need to know in order to be effective with these tools in the classroom. Just as much as it is if you've been a user of these tools for years and you already know that stuff and you feel like, I just want an opportunity to prove it to people. So both ends actually have great advantages.
And from a school-wide perspective too, if you've got a school that's got new devices or wants to make the most of the ones they have, being able to say that, hey, all of our staff have achieved this recognition, all of our staff know what they're doing with these devices is a good place to be.
Yeah, it's amazing how the conversation changes when everybody gets to a consistent level and they're all talking the same language. So it's good for that.
Awesome, great. Let's move on to our next question. Just thinking a little bit more about what are the benefits. So we've started talking about that already. Benefits for your district, for your staff, for you personally, for if you're going for a job interview to really show your certifications. But what are some of the other benefits that you guys can see of becoming an Apple teacher?
I would say one of them is the connection that you make. You're going to be connected to other Apple teachers and be able to share resources with people who have the same kind of enthusiasm, experience, and ideas that you may have. So it's a great network of people to become involved with, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll add.
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
Go ahead, Ben.
I'll add that there's just really some great resources in there. And so when you're starting to get going and you don't exactly know where to go, there are a ton of resources in the learning guides and in the training center, and just going there and digging in and being able to work through some of those are really great. It's also, I think, wonderful to be able to point other people to there and realize that if you're getting going with an initiative and you need to like get everybody up to speed on, let's say, something on Keynote or productivity or creativity, there's some really great resources already put together, and you can just point people to those and have them dig in.
Ben, I'm going to jump off of that too and just say that chapter 5 and all of the iBooks that come along, the guides for each of the different tools, is pretty amazing. It has a whole entire section on ways that you can use that particular tool in each different subject area. So using Keynote to create an interactive timeline. I was so surprised by that. I hadn't thought of that, and what a cool way to use it. So definitely check out all of those guides. They're free iBooks that you can download and then go through and learn about all the tools and practice all of the skills as you're going. So that's definitely an incredible resource for sure. Any other benefits to share?
I was just going to mention, Tracy, that you know, I'm sure most people have heard of the Apple Distinguished Educator program. It's been around for a long time, and it's something a lot of teachers aspire to be part of. That said, it is a fairly rarefied program in that lots of people apply, but not everyone gets accepted. So I think, you know, the Apple Teacher thing maybe is for people who aren't part of the ADE thing, but still want to be part of an Apple community. And it's open to everybody. There's no barrier to entry other than simply sitting the exams, which anyone can do.
Also, the Apple Teacher Recognition's a prerequisite now to apply to be an ADE. So it's if you want to go on to actually apply at some point to the ADE community, then this is a good first step.
And I think kind of piggybacking on that is that, you know, in schools we're being pushed to try to be very creative with our use of technology and do things that are innovative. But you really can't do that unless you have a basic foundation. And this helps to lay that foundation. So if you want to kind of get a strong footing in something so that you could then kind of springboard off of that, I think it's a great place to start and to kind of validate those skills that you do have and brush up on them.
Fantastic. I definitely agree with all of those benefits and have definitely benefited myself from I did both the Mac and the iPad and definitely learned a ton in both of those, going through both of those. So lots of benefits. And let's take a look now at something that you learned while you were pursuing your Apple Teacher badge. Does anybody have something to share?
Well, Tracy, I have used reading fluency journals for a long time, and as I was taking the Mac one, it said you could use Photo Booth to have the kids read in front of Photo Booth and capture that reading fluency, and then capture it like once a month or throughout the year so that you could compare their reading at the beginning of the year with that at the end of the year. And I thought that was really, really a good idea. I had been doing something similar, but not as easy as using Photo Booth. So I was like, oh my God, how did I not think of that? So that was fun to see. And then I saw where you could use Photo Booth to have kids practice their foreign language and talk and like read the foreign words and get some feedback on that. And I thought that was brilliant too. So I really enjoyed learning what you could do with Photo Booth.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off that and say I was surprised at how often Photo Booth turned up in the course. Because I've always just seen it as this fun little thing where you can take goofy photos of yourself, you know. But when I was reading through the course, I went, yeah, of course, there's all these really cool educational uses for that I've never thought of. So that was an interesting insight.
And I think that's what the course will help you do, is it helps you think, like, you know, what I would say, think outside the box. And, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And when you get talking with somebody else or you see these examples that are in the books, that stimulates you then to kind of continue on and take it one step, do a kind of a yes and see, oh, wait, I could take that somewhere else as well. So it's got great applicability, I think.
Recently, I was working with a number of teachers who were in their 5th year of an iPad rollout, and it was interesting to listen to some of the conversations. But we were working through some a session on Keynote and different strategies, and one of the things that came up was Instant Alpha, and there was a whole bunch of teachers who had never actually used Instant Alpha. And the conversation just spiraled immediately to like, oh, you know, and one of the things I think that's really great to think about is like Keynote isn't just a presentation tool. Like it's just an amazing sketch pad where you can align things and organize a page and almost use it as a desktop publisher to make like a really well composed graphic, for instance. And then you take a screenshot of it and then you have this like really well composed thing with Instant Alpha. And if for those of you who don't know what Instant Alpha is, I think, Tracy, maybe you can zoom in on my screen. If you can see Miss Frizzle here, sometimes you download images, your camera roll, or put them in Keynotes from your desktop, and then you have the background. And what you can really easily do is use Instant Alpha to just quickly, in a number, it's sometimes in a number of steps to remove the background and take that away, and you just have a much more polished looking graphic. So it's super simple, but there's a huge wow factor there with just being able to do some of that simple manipulation that maybe you would long to do in the past.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to do that sort of image manipulation without leaving the program and taking it off into some sort of fancy image editor and doing it there and bringing it back, and it just makes it so much simpler. The other thing in Keynote too is all that magic move stuff where you can do really sophisticated animations where you're moving stuff from screen to screen, and it always strikes me whenever I try and build a Keynote and I'm using a whole lot of like animations to, I want this to appear at this point, and then that vanishes, and this comes in, and this floats in. There's actually a whole lot of really sophisticated thinking that goes behind telling a story through those animations that you have available to you in Keynote, and they're really sophisticated. And the ability to then export that out as a cinema quality video at the end, which you could then bring into Final Cut or something and use that to do opening titles on a movie of some sort. I think wasn't who did that film about the environment stuff, and they basically did the whole thing in Keynote. Like it's almost cinematic in quality that you can get out of Keynote. Amazing. Who was it?
Al Gore.
Al Gore, that's right. Yeah. So it's a spectacular film. I love Keynote.
Awesome. And I know you guys are probably seeing in the live chat, lots of questions are coming in and comments. You'll see that Heather Dowd is in there. She had a little technical difficulty joining us here, but she is giving you guys tons of information in the live chat right there. She had talked a lot about too how she was so surprised about numbers, that she thought it was just a spreadsheet that you could use, and then all of a sudden you could do so many different things and charts and amazing things with numbers. So thanks, Heather, for being in the back channel there and answering everybody's questions. As we go in, so you can see that the Apple Teacher is an incredible program, really great that we have all learned a ton from being a part of that and taking the course, or taking all the quizzes. One thing that I do just want to point out to all of you guys is that, and I've lost my slides, I'll have to get those back up, that we do have, so the Apple Teacher program is free, totally free, that all you need is your Apple ID, and you can go into the Apple Teacher Learning Center and sign up and go and take all of the quizzes. There's absolutely no cost to this. We do, though, at EdTechTeam, I want to share with you guys that we do offer 2 different online courses. We have an iPad course for Apple Teacher starting next Monday, the 13th of March. And then we also have a Mac course starting on the 20th of March. And these courses, you can go through the whole entire program yourself. If you feel confident and you want to go and take them, go do that. But if you feel like you want a little bit of extra support, if you feel like you want to dive into the tools a little bit further and actually have to create things and share with people and collaborate with other people, then we do have some online courses. And we have Maria here with us, and she took our first, we had a iPad cohort back in November, and she took that particular cohort, and would love to have her share just really quickly what one of the benefits of taking an online course along with passing all of the quizzes for the iPad to get her Apple Teacher status. What was one of the benefits of taking the online course?
Well, I liked that it was self-paced, but it also provided me a deadline, because we get caught up with so many things that we keep saying we're going to go back to that. I'll catch up with that. So having the deadline kind of forced me to say, okay, I have this many days, pace it out, whatever works for me, and you can adjust your schedule along the way. So I could do it anywhere, whenever I wanted to. And it also forced me to use the iPad a little bit more, having both devices, a MacBook and the iPad. Sometimes we deviate more to one versus the other. So I fluently tried to do everything on the iPad, and it was just a great experience to then be able to connect back with my team, my teachers, our students who are using the equipment. Because, you know, depending on your role, sometimes you don't get those opportunities. And then to be able to further understand and share that experience with my team and have them try some of the activities while I was doing them in the course. And the lessons I created, I tried to fill out things that they might want to take back to their teachers to use as examples. It also provided other administrators in my building opportunity to talk with me to see what the apps offer. And then there was some app smashing that happened within, which was great because it aligned to the apps we're using in our district. So it also allowed for that online connection with the Facebook group or the Twitter, which is the hashtag Apple Teacher. And then also it allows us to see as a district now, well, how can we implement something like this to support our teachers, whether they take the course or do it at their own pace throughout the year. Meanwhile, looking at the Mac component for our technicians or other people who want to learn more to support teachers. So there is a plethora of benefits, but that structure of a schedule to keep me on task and self-paced was awesome. It was very helpful.
Great. We're so glad that you could join us for the cohort and then also join us tonight. We also have Jay Atwood, who is an Apple Distinguished Educator and was the facilitator and creator of the iPad online course, and will also be facilitating the next iPad cohort starting on Monday. Jay, can you share just a little bit too about what you think the benefits of taking this course are?
Yeah. I think that there's quite a few benefits that come along with it. One of them is that you get connected with people that can literally be from all around the world. Now that Apple Teacher is popped up in several countries around the world, those people as well could be taking these online courses because they're online. In that mode, we're able to all gather together in ways that we wouldn't be able to physically. I think kind of with the content and using the iPads, people may feel very comfortable with the iPad, but you know certain things, you know how to do certain processes. You may know particular apps. And one of the approaches that we took in the iPad course is that we didn't try to look for the one, I call it the Omni app, the one that does everything. Instead, apps are getting to be a little bit more focused, but we do want apps that have multiple uses. So things that are more flexible, but have maybe a narrower range of features is what we try to look at, and trying to put those things together in a way that helps you to solve a problem. So that you'll spend a lot of time in the course creating. You'll have little kind of projects or little hands-on kind of sessions where you get to play with the apps and you get to explore a little bit, and you get to put it within your own context. So I think, and that's really, really important. If you can walk away from this with one thing each week or each lesson that you can use, or an idea that comes from it, it's pretty powerful in the end.
Thanks, Jay. So I'll just share with you guys that the course, so the iPad cohort starts on Monday the 13th. All of the courses run for 4 weeks. And so through the 9th of April, and the Mac cohort starts on the 20th and runs through the 17th. Jay will be the facilitator for the iPad cohort, and Heather Dowd will be facilitating the Mac cohort. A couple of things that are interesting and different about them. The iPad cohort uses iTunes U as the platform to go through the course. So you'll join iTunes U and you'll go through and have that experience in iTunes U. You'll also use Seesaw as your place that you connect and share with other people. So you can see what everybody else is doing in Keynote or Numbers and learn about their projects and collaborate together there. For the Mac cohort, we'll be using Course Builder as the course platform. And most of your collaboration will happen through a private Facebook community. If you have questions about either of these, please email me, Tracy at EdTechTeam, and I would love to answer those questions for you at any time. So let's go ahead and finish up with a question, just thinking about what is one of the benefits of completing, oh, we did this one. Sorry. What was one of your biggest takeaways from the Apple Teacher quizzes? Everybody, any last thoughts and biggest benefits right now for you as an Apple teacher?
I think for me, as I alluded to before, it was just that ability of knowing where I stand. You know, do I know as much as I think I know about this stuff, and just being able to sort of sit the exams and benchmark that somehow was valuable to me. The other thing I think we hadn't mentioned, Tracy, and I don't know whether you're planning on it, is also the fact that there's Apple Teacher exams for the Swift playgrounds as well. Which, if you're doing any sort of coding stuff, we're talking about the iPad and the iMac, which are great, but there's also Swift playgrounds. So you can, there's a whole learning pathway that goes there about teaching kids to code and using the Swift Playgrounds app to do that, which is excellent and outstanding, by the way. And really, I've been coding stuff for a while, but I learned a whole bunch of new stuff from doing Swift, so really valuable.
I love the new community, the Apple Teacher hashtag on Twitter. It's a whole nother place where people are sharing, and it's great to have all those people grouped together sort of under that banner. And the Facebook community too, it's fun watching that grow and to see the people that are sharing and commenting on there. I think it's great to have more communities focused on people that are using similar tools and strategies.
Ben, thanks for bringing that up, because that is something that I wanted to share too, just was about the Facebook community with Apple teachers. So the EdTech team has an Apple community that you can join, and the link for that will be sent to you in a little follow-up email after this if you would like to join that community. So as we finish up, anybody else have any other thoughts that they would like to share as we start to close?
Yes, you should do it. There's my thought.
Yes, definitely do the Apple Teacher program, complete the quizzes on your own, or if you want a little bit of extra support, reach out to us and we can help you and guide you through that. A lot of the questions have been answered in the chat. Mark, sorry, were you going to jump in there?
I was actually just going to bring up the chat, but someone was asking again for the URL to win the course.
Yep.
And then also we can't drop URLs directly into that chat, but if you go to edtechteam.com/Apple, you can find all of this, all the courses and workshops and conferences featuring Apple Teacher there. There's links to the Facebook community there. Or if you just go on Facebook and you search the Apple Teacher hashtag, or if you search for community for Apple Teachers, I'm sure you'll be able to find it pretty easily. And then of course on Twitter, it's just the hashtag of Apple Teacher.
Great, wonderful. Yep, and people wanted to know about the URL that they could enter for the free course, edtech.team/course for free. I put it in the chat there, so make sure that you fill that out, and I will pick a winner randomly using a random name generator and send that out in the email follow-up as well. So if there are any other questions, please, is there a Google Plus community? We have a Facebook community. EdTech team has a Facebook community. We do not have a Google Plus community for the Apple Teacher.
There is an EdTech team Google Plus community, and people do talk about iPad and Mac stuff there, and there's a sub discussion. But the community is not focused just on Apple. But if you go to the EdTech team community on Google Plus, you can find that there too. And I'll grab a short URL for you real quick.
Great, thank you, Mark. And I just am looking at a couple of the other questions too. The quizzes are not necessarily performance tasks. You're answering either multiple choice or fill in the blank or matching different questions or putting the words in the sentence. So the quizzes are not necessarily performance-based, but if you do take the online course, you will be required to do a lot of the tasks, to use Instant Alpha, to use Magic Move. And show that you do understand those. So,
hey, Tracy.
Yeah.
Since you're going to give away a free course, why don't you do the random generator twice, and let's give an iPad, Innovate with the iPad book out, so that people taking the course can also take it one step further and innovate with their iPads in their classroom. So let's give out one of those too from Press.
Holly, that's awesome. Thanks a ton. So I will go through and I will pick 2 winners, one for an online course and one for an Innovate with the iPad. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight as we talked about the Apple Teacher Program. Hopefully we've answered a few of your questions and you understand a little bit more what the program is all about, what a great program it is. And reach out to us if you have any questions whatsoever. I'll make sure I go back through the chat to see if there are any other questions we didn't get answered. So thank you again, and we hope to see you guys all online very soon.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, everyone.